Dominique, can you hear me okay? Thank you.
How about me?
I hear you well. Thank you.
That's great.
Could be a little louder, maybe a little closer to the sound, to the microphone. Try it again. Hey, Joseph.
Hello, everybody.
Who let you in?
Yeah, who let me in is right. It's Jeff Widgren. Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen, where we meet every Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern. Glad to have a few of you back, and more will roll in. Got Ray, Dominique, Joe, Andrew, all my good friends. So thanks for coming. We've got our new live stream rolling on the Zoom Test Kitchen YouTube page. So if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube page for Zoom Test Kitchen, if you just search for that, you'll find it. And it's streaming there. It's also streaming, as it has been, on Facebook, on the Zoom Test Kitchen Facebook page. Soon I'll cross-post it over to the group as well. But YouTube, I think it just simply looks better, and certainly archives better as well. So anyways, we'll keep that going. And then today's focus, in fact, is at least at the beginning of the Test Kitchen, is going to be live streaming from Zoom, because I'm not using Zoom. And although that's what I'm streaming, but I'll explain the model that I use, which I've done in the past, but and then we'll look at the results and learn how Zoom does it as well, and it does it really differently. So needless to say, I think it'll be an exercise that everybody appreciates. Let me jump over here. There we go. And clean up the screen since it's streaming on video as well. Very good. What's new with you guys? I always like to start with giving you all the opportunity to share a success or a challenge or an upcoming event that we might be able to help you, prep for in thought and so forth. So anything anybody wants to kind of kick things off with and talk about? Always the quiet time. Oh, Jeff, don't make us talk. The Zoom Test Kitchen is a community, not a classroom. We all learn together, and we all share together, and we all teach together as well. And so feel free to chime in at always.
Nothing
anytime.
new for me, Jeff.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same old. Somebody's got a speaker open.
Same
1, 2.
old, same old.
Same
There
old.
we go.
Just can't believe how frequently I am running into people who just can't take into concept how they look on screen. And of course, if you'd spotlight me, everybody would be able to see me.
I will.
Speaker view. Oh, here's a choice. So I'm constantly amazed, and I've been hooked up lately with some local broadcasters who are having the same problem we're having with people not making eye contact, people wandering all around, people looking at pictures of the presenters, not concerned about their background, a tree growing out of their head or a pipe coming through their. It's amazing, and they've been doing it for 18 months.
Yeah, it's true. You kind of figure the practice and the time that's passed would you know provide some unfettered feedback from friends or coworkers or whatnot. But yeah, things don't naturally happen that way always, and so it's one of those things where we step up our game. I will say a week ago, I think I finally got it looking decent, but for a long time I was dealing with, and I still have some, like red blotchiness and so forth, which I think if you meet me in person, it's not nearly as distinguished as it is on camera. Um, and even if I like take a photograph and so forth, but I think I was running my studio lights too low. They're still.
We can't see you, Jeff.
Yeah. Oh, that's because I spotlighted you, huh? There we go. Um, in the sense that I added. I have a top right light, a top left light, and they're LED panels. I added an extra LED panel on the left side, but I turned it around backwards. It actually faces away from me, and it reflects off a white poster board, so that it's just a really, it's extra light, but it's a really soft, broad, source of it as well. And then I also, I've had this up here for a while, but I have a camera mounted LED light as well to kind of kill shadows that come from the top down lighting, and it actually works. It even works with like glasses. If I put on my glasses, I have to take a pretty decent lean up before you begin to see them, and a big lean up before you would see the other LED panels, and then naturally a little RGB light behind me that is simple enough. I mean, that was like I could go to Home Depot and get that. It's one of those clamp-on can lights, that screw in a RGB bulb that's connected to my Wi-Fi, and I can make it any color and any intensity and temperature of white and so forth. So it pretty straightforward in some senses, and it's I'm no perfect lighting guy, but I know the extra amount of light without it becoming harsh helped with the reds that I was dealing with, because it just wasn't enough light. So if anybody has any other suggestions on that, certainly let me know. And but we've got more coming in. We've got looks like Guy and Eddie and Cone is there as well. Welcome, Tony. I see Tony's name. So I think this time, how many of you have in fact used Zoom to stream out to a platform? Actually gone down there and said, custom live stream, or they use the API as well. And so Guy, you raised your hand. If you don't mind, can you describe what you got from it, the results, kind of, what did it look like for the audience?
For me, it was using the custom one, just running it into some tests through restream.io. In fact, I could probably push it out. We're not pushing out a stream, right, on this one currently? I mean, we're using a scrape,
not
but
from
we're not
Zoom. Yeah.
Not the traditional way. So yeah, that's what I found as well, is that the stream going out is only 720p. And so, and some of the things don't translate. So meaning like a
Correct.
2-up, if you do a multi-pin, it's not going to go out to the stream. So I like a screen scrape better, which is what we're doing into the Zoom Test Kitchen page, which will be 1080, which will be, well, 1080 if you run it through vMix. So that's my preferred route, is to get that additional bump in resolution and have those 2-ups and 4-ups if you want to do the pins. The other thing, I mean, it's pure simplicity for somebody like Tony who wants to just push to YouTube quickly and not mess around. Then just connecting your YouTube account makes it super easy. And right when you push that button, and we do it every day with office hours, it just goes out. It's easy. It's not a whole lot of fuss, not a lot of mess. Where the way that I would do it up in the cloud, it takes a little while to spin everything up and get it going. So unless it's a bigger production that I'm getting paid for, I really don't want to be, going through all those resources.
Yeah. No, thanks for sharing that. I know that Test Kitchen starts at, top of the hour, 3:00 Eastern, right? Thursdays and Friday. And if I'm not in my studio by 20 after the hour, I'm stressing hard. That's a push. That is still a push, but that's a system that's already set. I just kind of work left to right on my machines, and first thing I do is actually turn the music on in my studio. Then I know the music you hear when you log in, so that gets me in the mood to set things up, and then I configure the streams out of vMix, and so that's all titled and descripted and all that jazz. Get those configured. Make sure that my input that represents my screen scrape is picking up that desktop, and then I go to my Mac, which is my OSC machine, and I tell it to log in to a meeting that hasn't started yet. Just sits there and spins and waits, right, for the host to start the meeting. Do the same thing on the screen scrape machine, and so they're both just kind of sitting there spinning, waiting for me to finally start the meeting, so that when I start the meeting, they just come in, right? They're automatic, and that's kind of the last few things. But it takes a while. I mean, to your point. Matter of fact, I remember how many few months ago you recommended, hey, you should probably, consider streaming this thing out to, Facebook. And so I did, and it was an utter failure that day, right? I mean, and it was an audio thing.
That's right. It was audio. Yeah. I do remember that. It was just, it's not easy. I mean, it's not as easy as pushing that little button. So for somebody, again, like Tony, it makes it super simple. Just get it done. I mean, Tony, eventually, he doesn't have his video on, but we're going to take care of you. We're going to do you right. We're going to get you vMix in the cloud. We're going to get you dialed in. I see John Barker just came in. Maybe we're going to be using some of his 2-up and 3-up.
Cool.
Plugins that I just bought this morning. So nice to see you here, John. Nice to see you here, Tony. But yeah, we want to push 4K out for Tony. 4K HDR immersive audio, right, Tony? One day.
There you go.
But for now, 720p YouTube, it works.
Yeah, it does. It does. It gets it out there. Now, I'll say, you can't use Zoom as the guide of what you think you're streaming, because what it actually delivers is a far cry different than what you're seeing in Zoom. So don't make any assumptions there. And that's why I thought it was so important to spend some time. And it coincides with some work I'm doing right now with a production. And many of the sessions are going out to a platform called SpotMe. And it's not about the destination. It's literally about the way Zoom prepares that video and so forth. So there's some rules. I mean, I call them behaviors in the Test Kitchen. We learn those undocumented behaviors. You learn them, get familiar with them. It really doesn't matter whether you like them or not. At least you know what they are, so we can be prepared. And being prepared for known behaviors gives us all the opportunity during the selling process, the architecting process of a job, to recommend or not recommend that methodology, right, of streaming and delivery to the customer. It's really all about choosing the right platform, the right tool, and so forth for the job, because If a customer is unwilling to budge on their expectations, no, I want side-by-side multi-spotlights, then streaming from Zoom is not an option, period. I mean, like, you can get creative. I'll show you a little bit of creativity, but when the moment you get creative is the moment you add risk to the success of the job, right? Because now you've put yourself in an operational mode that you're not commonly in. And so mistakes are at a higher level of risk of happening. And so those are some really recent conversations I've been having with a production company that I do work for. And it's not. There's layers. There's layers. There's the client. There's the primary production company. There's the staffing / secondary production company, and then there's the techs and producers. And so it's not like you always have like
And
that
there's
direct
whale
line.
poop, and
Direct.
there's you.
Yeah, and they're not that direct line of influence all the time, but as often as you can to help provide that guidance. And so I have the Zoom Test Kitchen is in fact not streaming from Zoom right now. It is streaming via Screen Scrape through my vMix and out to YouTube and Facebook, like I said. But I do believe I'm ready to start a live stream as well.
Can you do it? Is it as a co-host? I don't see it. So are you saying it as host? It's only host that can start the stream?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're like my segue guy.
Big man today.
It's great. There's a really, I'll tell you, the very hard rule, 3 bullet points, 3 prerequisites. You have to be now this is in order to be able to start a live stream from Zoom, you must be the host. You must be on a paid account, not a free account. And you must be a member of the organization that scheduled the meeting. And so what that really further translates to is because the DVE store, sponsors the Zoom account at 1080 for Zoom Test Kitchen, Guy could schedule a meeting, and he could, I could join that meeting, and because as long as I join it with the account that he has set up for me to use for the Zoom Test.
Oh, whoops! Sorry, I hit the wrong button there and muted you. Just trying to let Andy's Zoom OS see.
There we go. He could pass host to me, and that would be actually successful to where I could start the live stream because it's a paid account of his organization, and he's given me host. It's met all 3 requirements. But if I were to have logged in with my personal paid account from Zoom and joined his meeting and he passed me host, I would not be able to start that live stream. So those are the 3 big and they're rock solid. The biggest unknown I think for a lot of folks is one, you can't do it for like we can do a lot of things as a co-host. Just throw that one out the window, and then you go, well, okay, well, I'll give you host. And throw that out the window if you're not of the same organization. And
so just
and
to
the last
clarify,
one, yeah.
If you pass host right now to Ray and you have it all set up, Ray cannot start a YouTube stream.
That's correct.
I'm a co-host, but I don't see that. I can't do that.
Can you pass it to him real quick just to verify?
Yep.
I trust but verify.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's what this is all about. Ray is now, so Ray's a co-host, and he says he can't see it, can't access it. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to make you the host. There you go, Ray. You're now the host. Do you have access to the live stream now? It's the 3 buttons on the bottom right of the toolbar.
On the bottom right. I got it.
Furthest right button.
Right now, I have access.
Yep, you have access.
Live
Go
to
ahead.
Facebook, live to YouTube.
Go ahead and select the custom.
Custom, I've done. My screen is blank. You do not have permission to live stream.
Correct. Yeah. So you're a host, and it even gave you the button, which was really kind of a false sense of confidence. And even if I had it pre-configured, you know how you can, when you schedule a meeting, you can pre-configure the parameters. That's you can't. What's stopping you in producing the error is is that when you click on custom live stream or stream, it's trying to open the browser, and it's expecting you to be able to log into Zoom on that browser on an account that is either the establishing account of the meeting or paid, which is essential. Like, if I'm a member of your organization, can I be a free account? The
Yeah, you
answer
can be
is
a free
yes.
account on.
You can. Yeah, Guy, you could, even though you have an enterprise account, Guy, you could add 10 free Zoom accounts to it.
Andy's on my account right now as a free account.
There you
As a
go.
matter of fact.
and so
40-minute limit, Andy. You can't go past.
That's right. But even though he's a member of the organization and you give him host, because it's a free account in the same org, it won't work either. And so it's looking to have you authenticate in that browser for the streaming parameters on an account that's part of the org on a paid account. And that's
this
why
is
you're getting that
Alex
error.
has that issue when he's out of town and other people can't stream to his YouTube channel because it
That's
needs
right.
to connect to YouTube to do that handshake and have him log in, and he doesn't want to give up his credentials. So
That's exactly right. That's the ultimate ask is, well, the only way we're going to be able to resolve this is to give me your credentials. And the answer is hell no, right? I mean, you just don't do that. And so, you know, if it was a paid account and I was really in a spot where I couldn't solve anything else, you know, if I would first go in and change my password so I could have it back later, and then give you my credentials with a what I would consider to be a temporary password, and then I could change it back to normal after all was said and done. But
and then
that's
his is
like
a
the very
personal
last
account.
thing.
So if you had a business account in YouTube, is there a way to have multiple managers of your YouTube account? So then, because I think that was his other issue, was that he had set up that account as his YouTube channel as a personal channel and not a business
But
channel.
it's not YouTube that's complaining at this point. It's Zoom, right? It's Zoom, the sender of the stream, that all these rules are up against. It doesn't have any tie yet to Facebook or YouTube or whatnot. You may find yourself being able to satisfy Zoom and putting in the RTMP info and stream key, but then when you try to stream it to YouTube, and if you aren't set up as like a manager there to be able to stream, then that would be your next threshold to get through as well. All right. So
Are you sure on the business one on YouTube? Because I think that, like, so I have the DVE store channel on YouTube, which I have a couple people in the org that can manage that channel. But I think that was Alex's mistake, is that he started his Alex Lindsay channel as the office hours place to stream to, and then eventually he wanted to stream to or allow other people to manage that channel, but he couldn't have other people manage a personal channel. So I think that's the issue. So yeah, he's kind of stuck. I don't think that you can revert a personal YouTube channel.
That's his issue in particular. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So Eddie has in chat here, but can you create a shareable login, a legit full account paid for that has access level when sharing that login? Would this allow you to hand off? The shareable level would be sharing your credentials. There's you know, you can share a set of credentials. The question is it going to be your credentials, or is it going to be the new account you just added to your organization and paid for? I mean, that's it. You know, you can do that. Anybody can add another paid account under their primary account, but those are the parameters for streaming from Zoom. And I tell you, it's you know, for the most part, it's really unknown. And I'll say, without saying, you know, who and so forth on this job, there were I mean, this is a very large organization, known throughout the world, and probably oh my goodness, I don't even know how many sessions, but thousands of people, and sessions that they started early this week and they'll end the end of next week for 2 weeks worth of teachings and sessions and lots of techs and lots of moderators and producers and the whole bit. And they ran into this barrier. And this is like round 2. They ran into this, in, like I was told, I wasn't part of it, back in January, and somebody didn't gather enough, clarifying information, I guess. So what they're
Now that I
doing
think
is
of-
this. Yeah, go ahead.
Now that I think about it, as admin, I don't know. I made you admin on my account, the DVE account. Did you get a chance to poke around in there? Because I think that you
I
can,
have.
and maybe Dan knows the answer to this as well. I think you can go in there and start, like, you could come in and kind of save the day as admin. If you have a business level account or higher, you can start people's meetings, come in as a co-host. I can't remember the term, but there's something in there that allows you to just like, I'm coming in here to
join as a live assistant. That's what it's called.
join as a live assistant. Yeah. Can that
You're the
start a
host.
webinar if the case that Jeff was just talking about happens, where
Or a
an outside
streaming
member?
webinar.
Yeah, you go to the dashboard. So anything that's a scheduled meeting or webinar, you can start it as the host. Then when the host comes, they reclaim it.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is another
Yeah.
interesting topic there. For those of you who have maybe have never heard of it, there is another cool feature called Claim Host, which is available, as far as I know, only on a Zoom room, which I've used a couple times to come in and save the day. If you know somebody's host code, you can take host. So like if they accidentally, go run to go pick up lunch and the meeting's still going and you need to mute somebody or something, or there's no co-host whatsoever, you could come in a Zoom room and say claim host and take host over, which is a really interesting feature that a lot of people don't know exists.
So I jumped in. It's not a room only thing, by the way, and I'll say
where
just
is it?
because of recent. So it's in meetings as well.
Where is it?
I for the very first time in a long time ended up, as the moderator, coming in 40 minutes early for, tech check with the speakers and so forth. There were already 30 people in the meeting. I'm like, thanks a lot. The primary production company went and did their rounds and opened up all the meetings and didn't turn on waiting rooms. And so the early birds were just stacking up. And there was no host. They did their thing and left, and did their thing and left, and did their thing and left, and they just stayed open. So there's 30 attendees, no co-host, no host, and a button was right there, claim host. And so I didn't have that number. They didn't put that process together, but I was surprised to see, hey, there it is. And so what the other part of that was is not only did they not have a waiting room on, but they check marked in your meeting scheduler, allow people to join anytime. And so people could, well, you know what? I wonder. I would guess that they didn't start the meetings. They just had allow them to join anytime. And so once they started trickling in, it opened the meeting automatically, and there was nobody administratively in charge. Therefore, everybody who comes in potentially could click on the button that says claim host, but then it pops up a small dialogue that says, well, what's the host key? And obviously, nobody, even including me in this case, didn't have the host key. The host key is listed under your profile of the Zoom portal, and a lot of us don't pay attention to it much, but that's what it's for, is if you know you're going to be gone, for instance, and won't be able to fire up a meeting, enable, uncheck or check mark, enable people to join anytime. Give your trusted resource your host key, which is like a 6-digit number, and when they join, then they can click on claim host, type in the number, and they will become the host. And that can help solve some problems as well. All right, so I'm going to set up a stream. Let me, and I'm going to do this to. I'm already sending a stream to YouTube Zoom Test Kitchen channel, but I also have a Stream Sharks channel. Let me see if I can find this all now. He's still sitting there waiting for me. Okay, so let me, that's the Zoom test kitchen. That one's running. This one's waiting. All right, so let me see if I can make this helpful as well. So I'm going to share. Oh, Ray, you're still the host. I need to reclaim host. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen first so you can see what I'm doing. And so I'm going to start, begin the process of starting a live stream. So I click on live on custom live streaming service. So I'll click that. It popped up on my other monitor a page to pop in the streaming URL and stream key. And I have that here. This is my YouTube studio waiting for a feed. And so this stream key, I'll copy that first and I'll paste it in. And then the URL, I'll copy that and paste that in. And then the live streaming page URL, I don't at the moment know what it is. I'll put it in the chat as far as a real destination. For now, I'm just going to put youtube.com and be good. Ultimately, this is meant to take them to the page that the stream is showing up in. I just don't have that full answer at the moment. And then and so you can pre-configure this too when you're scheduling a meeting. You can actually get here and get all this information, plugged in and the whole bit. And or you can also like provide, if it's a separate account for each moderator that you've brought in and hired or whatnot, you can tell it that it needs, authentication to the platform or not. And so anyways, I'm going to say go live. It gives us all the warning now that this meeting's being live streamed. You see the icon on the top as well. And if I bring my browser back up to where it was waiting, you'll see that we are in fact being live streamed out there to this YouTube page. So now in this channel, I'm going to go to videos, live, that's where it is. And I'm going to get this shareable link and put that in the chat, the Zoom chat, so you guys can all, whoever wants to tune into this live stream, you can, because we'll go through several scenarios of managing a meeting with expectations of what the live stream will actually look like and behave like and so forth. Okay, now I'm going to stop sharing. All right, Eddie, what you got, Eddie?
Hey, Jeff, is it possible that you could update the link that's in Zoom? So I want to see how fast it refreshes if you can.
I'm not understanding your request.
In the top left corner, I've got the live on custom live streaming service.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's to copy. Yeah, I can stop the stream and relaunch now that I know where the destination will be.
And then just a note, it's really nice to have another participant in the meeting, another machine to be able to look and see what you're getting, especially in webinar, because if you're live streaming out what you're doing in the meeting as far as gallery view versus active speaker view, sometimes unless you're really on the ball, you can mess up and have the wrong output going to the stream, because it is different. What an attendee sees in a webinar is different than what gets pushed out to YouTube.
Yeah, very much.
And in a meeting as well, as far as multi-spotlight and things like that. So if we do a 2-up right now, like if I spotlight
is it
Jeff,
still streaming? I ended it. Did it
No,
restart?
it's hanging now.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
stopped.
Yeah, I think I need to get a fresh key because I stopped it
Lost
and then
that one.
then
Yeah.
YouTube sped in. So I'm gonna get a new one here. Go here. Yeah, unable there. That's expected. All right, so then back to starting this again. Update the stream key now. I think that'll solve it. That's that. Then the
While you're doing that, I can do a quick share screen of
yep.
what this back end looks like. Where here's that join as live assistant if you have the admin side of the account. So I'm in this dashboard. This won't look familiar to too many people, but I just wanted you guys to be aware. This is this meeting going on right now. So if I click this, and if I wasn't in the meeting, I would come in as a co-host, I believe. Is that right, Dan? Co-host or host?
Yeah, yeah. If the host is in there, then you'll come in as a co-host. But if no one's in the meeting yet, you're the host.
Okay, cool. And there's a bunch of other stuff in here too. I don't want to scroll down because I don't want to expose anybody's IP address, but I can see everybody's IP address who's in the meeting. So, but I don't want to make this bigger right now because I don't know if that's going to make anybody mad. So anyways, you can see things like people's audio and video data rates and it's kind of a cool little back end, especially for quality of service to see how good somebody's internet was throughout a recording. If somebody's saying, hey, it wasn't me, it was you, you could actually check and see how good their connection was the entire time. So kind of a cool feature.
So I'm not mastering being able to update that target URL at this point, Eddie, because it's unique directly to the video, and without every time I stop it to update it, it has to have a new key and so forth. So I apologize for that, but I'm gonna leave that the way it is at the moment. I do need to send you a new, I believe, chat message with the now current stream that's going out there.
So while you're doing that, can you guys see this screen? Okay, yeah, this is my audio video. I clicked on me, so you can see the data rate over time. So this is a lot of data that's going on behind the scenes to Zoom servers. So it tells me what that user, so I just clicked on my name. So there's my IP address. You can see my version, my microphone. Now, this is only because I'm on this account that I can see this information. They do cover this up now. It used to be wide open in the olden days, but about 2 months ago, they covered it up if they're not in your org. But you can see any user that's in the meeting of your, what resolution that they were sending, the latency, the jitter, and any loss. So it's kind of nice to be able to have this over time. So I can see that I'm sending 1920 by 1080, receiving 256 by 144 because I'm in gallery view. If I switch to active speaker or pin somebody, pin Dan real quick. So I'm going to pin Dan. And now that should jump.
That's sending bitrate. Wow.
Sending 1920 by 1080. Should start receiving. Should show the receiving is higher now. Interesting, it's not. Unless, Dan, are you showing that you're sending? Because I'm seeing you in HD, that's for sure. That's weird, it's not showing the updated. Or maybe this is video at 1237. It's probably not a very real time.
Can you force a refresh, just refreshing your browser? Will it force it to update?
I don't want to, or let me do a pause. So that's the other interesting thing for those of you who do a lot of screen shares. I don't think you can see it, but in your tools, you can pause your screen share. So if I accidentally did expose everybody's IP addresses, so I'm going to pause the share, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit this refresh. So you guys won't see that I'm hitting refresh. Yeah, so now I'm going to go ahead and make the unpause it. So there's a button that says resume share, and it's still the same thing. anyways, that's a good little
Gotcha.
tip if you are about ready. If you're in the middle of a presentation, you're like, oh, should I do this or should I not?
Yeah.
You can pause so you're not kicking everybody out and then having to restart the screen
Yeah,
share.
because stopping a screen is kind of a big real estate shift, right, on everybody versus pausing as a hold and lets you reset what you're doing or where you're at, or
Yeah, especially if you're entering
scrolling down.
passwords.
Yeah, if you have to log in, right? Yeah, do a site. Yeah, all those things. All right, so so does everybody who wants to watch the YouTube stream that's being produced by Zoom have that up? Anybody struggling with that? Okay. All right. So right now, it is what I see, and I'm looking at gallery out there on the YouTube stream. It's gallery. What's it missing? What's not in the gallery right now?
People with muted video.
Correct. Absolutely. And that's
Do
not
I get a
because
cookie? Do I get a
didn't.
cookie? What do I get? Gold
That's right.
star?
If I
Gold
could
star.
throw a bag of M&Ms out, I'd throw them out. But it's I think it's a worthwhile point to make. I mean, if you really want to know the details, right? And that is, you know, how many of you would assume that it's not showing non-video users because I knew that I needed to hide them? I mean, it's not even kind of a valid thought because look at your Zoom screen. My Zoom screen definitely shows Greg, JJ, and others, non-video users, displayed perfectly. And so I didn't have to turn it off. Streaming from Zoom naturally filters out non-video users. Just mark it as a note. And so anybody who might suggest you have to turn off non-video users so it's clean, you know, it's not a bad wrong, but it's an unnecessary wrong. And I'll say, if you did it, chose to do it, or suggested to do, you're limiting your ability as an admin, a Zoom admin, to more easily manage your meeting, because I would rather right click on a big video square on somebody that I needed to do something to, mute, unmute, and so forth, versus the moment you turn off non-video users, where do you have to manage everybody? Over in the participants list, which is like my last go-to place. It's the smallest target for my mouse to have to hit. And it's always often a shifting target. People moving, raising their hands, muting, unmuting. Those two actions are probably the most common, especially muting, unmuting, that shifts people. And so just as you're aiming for that next person you need to manage, boom, they move, you know? And so it's a really frustrating place to try to manage from. So that's the gallery view. All right. Now I will do a spotlight, and I'll spotlight Dan the man, and we'll watch the stream catch up, and Dan is there. I'll add a spotlight. Now in Zoom, we've got our two telestrators, and side by side, and on Zoom, what just happened? It actually changed to me, and I'm not even
Active speaker.
spotlighted. Yeah, it defaulted to active speaker, and which is kind of wild, like really wild. I actually didn't expect that behavior. I was convinced that I'm not spotlighted. I'm definitely not, right?
Yeah, I would have thought that it would
I
have
am
hung
not.
on spotlight number one. That's the way it works in webinar.
So
is it hangs on
I
spotlight
actually
one.
provided this bulleted piece of advice on behavior to a group today, or last night, I guess. And I explained there were like three different modes. And one is, you know, spotlight single person. And so let's kind of go through this as we talk about it as well. I'm going to have a single spotlight in Zoom, and that's Guy Cochran. So as I continue to talk, will it spotlight Guy Cochran while I talk? And I think the answer is no, yes, it will. It'll lock onto Guy even though I'm the active speaker. But when I add a spotlight, and add a spotlight, we go 4 up. Now I'm going to keep talking, and now it went into active speaker mode. It's just like, what the heck? So do me a favor, Joe. Why don't you go, if you would, start talking as well? And because you're a non-spotlighted person, so am I. But you go ahead and talk, and let's make sure it'll switch to you.
All right, I'll talk about some crazy things. Right now I'm watching That Girl. I don't know if you guys remember.
Oh, yeah.
That Girl, those the TV over here to my right.
There we go.
Not ignoring the Zoom meeting completely.
Yeah, so active speaker to Joe. And then let's make sure our spotlighted folks can, join in on that. So, Guy, if you want to start talking.
I'll go ahead and start talking. Yeah, it's interesting that, I hope that Zoom will just do the 4 up boxes.
I know.
That would be what I would request. I want the 4 up. If 4 people are pinned, I want those 4. And then if active speaker talks, they become just voice under, so to speak. They don't appear visually. Only their audio comes through.
So,
because what if this is 4 PowerPoints? 4 maps during an emergency. Like I want to see what's going on, 4 local cams or
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The streaming is a pretty major breakdown. It really, it's a pretty darn major breakdown. And this is actually enlightening. This behavior is enlightening to me because I'm pretty sure I can replicate what I expected. What I expected to happen was that it would become, there's like single spotlight, because there's a spotlight locked into that person, and we know that that's in fact true. Then the next mode is this is what I expected here, but I assumptively, and that's what got me. I assumptively thought it would do the same thing in spotlight only without a share. And I'll show you later. I certainly hope it's replicatable. I did it last night, and it was repeatable. But that is what I would call a limited active speaker mode. And so what I expected is, because we have 4 spotlights in Zoom right now, that it would act like active speaker, but within the limitations of the active spotlights. And so remember that description, because I do believe that's what we'll see when we add a share to the mix and we end up with the active speaker mode. I don't believe, I couldn't get it to do it, but I may just not have had a big enough audience, I don't remember for sure if I had a loud enough speaking non-spotlighted person. So it may not have this filtered down spotlight feature. So anyways, we just know, that's the best I can do in the kitchen to help myself and others out, is know that if you're streaming from Zoom and you're dependent on it on a platform to the audience, the moment you spotlight more than one person, you will potentially go active speaker on anybody in the let's just call it the panel for now, right? And even unintended. So somebody who forgot to mute their microphone, who banged their pencil on the desk, you know what I'm saying, that gets the Zoom audio attention, they'll pop up for a moment. And so to know that this is the behavior.
That's cringeworthy.
Isn't it? It's just, talk about operating an environment on a bag of nerves, right? It's just nuts. So I just go, here's a, evidence of the need for either Zoom OSC and or even Zoom OSC with Isadora for the automation, and that is that it being Isadora continues to watch, because anything automated is way faster than me as a human, right? And so it can sense anybody coming off mic or off mute except the designated intended speaker. And so you could through the power of the OSC protocol, Isadora could be that constant listener, and all you've told Isadora is, hey, this is the primary speaker right now. Keep everybody else muted. So even when they unmute, boom, it's off. Even unmute, boom, it's off. And so now you can do that manually on a Stream Deck if the meeting size is small enough to manage. If it's a big meeting, you're kind of hosed up. Now, there's another option, but I'm going to pause here for a second. Eddie's got his hand up. What you got, Eddie?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. So I believe that your copy paste buffer, when you set up the custom link, so the top left corner of the Zoom window, when I go up there to look and it says copy streaming link, your buffer had the previous one, which is a 2-minute video now on YouTube. And so I'm curious if you can actually update that while this is live without stopping and starting the stream.
I don't. Well, do you have access to the latest one though? Because the latest one,
Yeah.
the latest one in the chat is the right one.
It is, yeah. But my concern is, and it kind of goes back to the first time I asked this, is that if you start the stream and you don't have that link available from YouTube yet, but you want to get the stream going to make sure that you've got that end-to-end, can you go back and update it with the correct link as the show is going, and how long is that update process? But now, because of copy paste buffer error, if I did that, I would have to stop my stream, restart it, and get a new URL. And so you might be kind of sending people down a track.
I mean, I'll readily admit that when I go to YouTube, it's my own weakness. This is my own naivety to the process is going into YouTube Studio and putting it in that ready mode that gives us the stream URL and the keys and so forth. I can't find the destination URL from that screen, and so my resolution at the moment is to start the stream, and then I go to my channel, to the live feeds, and then copy the URL. And so I'm about to get the answer from Cheerig, I think. So that would be phenomenal.
And specifically my question is, can you fix a mistake in Zoom outside of YouTube?
Yeah. Well, so I don't have a perfect answer to that, but we're gonna build on this right now as well. Cheerig, what do you got?
So, Jeff, you're wanting the YouTube URL when you're on the studio page, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I can show you that. Let me see if I can pull up my other screen real quick. Give me 1 second here.
So I would say everybody get prepared, because when Cheerig shares, it's gonna show you what a live stream from Zoom, how it presents that share and video as well.
Okay, sorry, just give me 2 seconds here. I just need to get this. Okay, what am I sharing? Display 2. Okay, so if I bring this window up, you should see the.
Can you go ahead and share it?
Okay, sure, I can do that.
Yeah, only because it's going to give us a format that I'm heading towards anyways.
Oh, I don't have share
Let
rights.
me, here, I'm going to make you a co-host to be able to get that started there. Go ahead.
Cool, thank you, sir. Okay, so right here, let me know when you see it.
Yep.
Okay, so what we tend to do is, go ahead and come to this page, so studio.youtube.com. Let me back it up a step so you can actually see that. So I go to studio.youtube.com, click on the live button here, go live.
Yep.
And then from here, you're able to obviously get your key, your URL and key. And then top right-hand corner right here, share.
That's the spot.
Right there.
That's the spot. Beautiful. That's
And then
exactly
you just
what I
copy it
needed.
there and then just paste it back. So you can actually get this before you actually start sharing.
That's the part I couldn't find for the life of me. It's like, okay, so that's great because then that lets me pre-configure all 3 fields from the get-go, and we're good to go. Still having the need to answer, can we edit that on the fly without interruption to the stream, and we'll need to do a little further testing and research on that.
So you mean edit the which? Sorry,
So my configuration, all I typed in was youtube.com because I didn't have that URL. Can we go back and fix that while it's streaming without interruption?
Don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, if I like me, the host who started the stream, all I have access to is stop live stream. I can't bring up that config again without it. So I'm kind of leaning towards, right now I'm leaning towards, I don't think that's possible. And, but needless to say, now that I know where that link is, I won't have that problem anymore. So thank you for that, Sherry. Do take a look as you're looking at the stream out there on YouTube, you know, how it is representing the picture-in-picture in the top right corner, and we have 3 spotlights right now. It looks like I had to drop, maybe take a call or whatnot, but while a share is up there, the speaker goes into the top right corner, and there's no flexibility on that. You can't remove it, and you can't add more than one. And if you do spotlight more than one, it's going to do the same thing as we saw earlier, is it's going to go into active speaker mode. And so multiple faces will pop up if they make noise or speak out of turn or whatnot. Greg says, did you realize a spotlighted participant can remove their spotlight but can't if in a multi-spotlight? Oh, interesting. Yeah. Here's the other kind of just a little bit on that weird spotlight behavior. I am the host. I'm going to share my screen real quick, and you know, if I get myself in a position where I really, you know, I'm spotlighting, I'm in this view, I really don't want to lose this view, but I want to see a lot more of the attendees, so I can make the next, you know, be prepared to make the next spotlight or whatnot, and it gets a little difficult without, you know, actually changing the view and so forth. So I go, oh, okay, I'll just do it from the participants list. And so let's say Andre's the next one that I'm preparing for. I don't have video on that. Let me choose Churig instead right here. And I click on more, and I'm waiting to add, replace the spotlight. So wipe out the 3 that are in there right now, and replace all the 3 spotlights with 1 of Churig. But often in my world, that wipe all and replace with is my camera, because it's my program out of vMix that I'm heading towards, right? You know, whether it's the ending slide or whatever the case may be. When I'm in the participants list, that's the entire list of choices I get when I click on the host account on the top of the list. Edit profile picture and rename. I can't spotlight myself from, I can do it up here. I get all this, but why this long menu of choices, which is available for everybody else in the participants list, except me? I have no idea. I have no idea, but I know it's not an option, and you know, you have to work around those things that you know, because if you don't check it out ahead of time and you need to make that change, that switch, it'll be too late, and there'll be a big miss in the program, right? So So I just wanted to, spend some time on, letting you see the output. So if if I in fact go ahead and replace the spotlight to just myself and then share a screen and watching the stream now as a result, it'll get my share. It'll tuck me away up there on the top right corner. Dan or Ray, go ahead and start talking to confirm that it won't go into
Right.
active
I'll
speaker
talk.
mode. Yep.
Yeah, I'll
Dan
keep
speaks
talking
better
right
than
over
I
you
do.
and see what I don't know about that. I just wanted to see if I pop in there, and if I take over, I drop at the window. Let's see the stream. Am I? Yeah, I'm still talking. It's not
Okay.
taking over.
You
Same
keep
thing
talking.
here.
You
I'm
keep
talking,
talking.
and
I'm
I
going to
can't
add a
change it.
second spotlight.
I'm talking, and
Um,
now there's no chance that you can take my screen.
Okay, so one of you two keep talking. I'm going to add Dominique to the
Go ahead,
I will
Dan.
keep
spotlights.
talking. I will really test this duplex, full duplex speaking mode here, and we'll see
There
if
you
it.
go. The moment
me
I
anywhere.
added Dominique is the moment it went from locked in, spotlighted to anybody who makes a
Right.
noise is gonna get put up there. So
Noise.
I mean, it does it in single speaker or full screen speaker mode or shared picture in picture mode as well. So just a call out on that. All right. Any questions? Any thoughts? Let's. I want to take a look at something real quick. Haven't tested this, but while we're here, in this work, some rooms, mine doesn't, but some rooms have video to play, and I highly recommended the built-in shared player, and so it's under the advanced share video. It opens up a oh wow, where did that come from? A plugin is required to share video file. I wonder why that showed up, because I've played videos. It must have been one of the updates or something, and or they updated their video player. And I don't know if I did that once when it first came out or what, but we'll deal with that. Now it's installed. So I'll do it again. Advanced video, share. Now it pops up, says, hey, where's your video file? And you go find it. See if I can find videos, find my boy's name, his famous saxophone thing. And I'll say open, and I'm going to wait so I can see how YouTube right now. It should be a large black screen, which it is. On my desktop I was sharing, it's just a small player. And I can make it big, I can move it. It doesn't make any difference to the recipients. So there's that. Anybody have their volume up? Down in Zoom, but up on YouTube? You can give us a little feedback of quality of sound here in a moment. So it looks good. Okay, so I'll kill that. Anybody get a chance to listen and cheering?
So just a note on the video sharing. I don't know if you're signed in, Jeff, but one thing I've noticed on our enterprise account, if I'm not logged in to Zoom on that machine, that advanced share for video actually goes away. So I don't know if anyone else has experienced that.
So if you join only versus authenticate,
right,
then I always authenticate. I
Right.
don't know the last time I've ever joined only, but that's a good point.
Because
So if
what
you're
we
joined
tend to do is obviously join from multiple machines when we're doing a big, broadcast. And if
Mhm.
we accidentally sign into another machine and it takes over the SSO and logs you in on that machine, on your
Yeah.
primary machine, you will not. I don't know if
You
it's
won't
for
be
everyone.
considered logged in anymore.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
you don't have that video share option. So
Interesting.
just something to look out for.
I was not aware that it had that dependency. So
Yeah.
that's a really good note as well. Yeah, I think, at the work I'm involved with right now on this is what makes me the most nervous is is that that you're not, you haven't, the production company / customer in this case made the decision that we're not going to create accounts for our moderators. Like by far the ideal situation to be in as a paid for moderator is to have the Zoom credentials. It's your account temporarily, right? And you can log into zoom.us or your login portal. You can log into the client directly. It just gives you unfettered access to the features, all the features of that account. And instead, I mean, like the solution. So the account owning host of these sessions coming up is actually the speaker who's employed by the client. And that it's their account that has to be used. Well, then you're the one who has to start the stream. And so you've handed over like this critical technical piece of the stream URL and so that starts. We have the back end access to the platform, so we had to copy and paste those strings. Not a big deal, to put it in chat for them to copy and paste them into the configurative area, which there's a very good chance they've never even seen that area in their life before, and and so they go ahead and start it, and but my worry and concern is always about backup reliability and so forth. What if something goes wrong? What if something fails? And you have to once you end, like once that stream fails and ends, you can't just restart it on the same key. And so so with that, the recovery of that could be pretty challenging because we have access to that, and you could put it in the chat, the backup platform destination. You could put that backup data in the chat ahead of time just in case, but still, I just handing over that liability. Like if something fell apart, then who carries that liability and quick recovery, and your hands are tied because you really can't participate in anything more than some verbal instructions. So there's that, and then there's will they hand host control over and or not? And then that's the other piece. So answer this question for me. When you're using Zoom to stream to any destination, where is the source of the streamed video data coming from? His desktop, their desktop, her desktop? Like which one's it looking at to determine that's what I'm gonna stream?
The host.
Person who
Okay.
launched it, I would
Well,
suppose.
I can actually. So we've tested this. So if I was the host of a meeting, and I was disconnected, it would continue to stream on YouTube. So it is actually not the host. It's as soon as you put the key in, I believe it's taken over by Zoom, like in the cloud or wherever. So even if you get dropped as a host, the stream will still keep running.
But will things change? I'm a pilot, and when we're on an instrument flight plan and we're in the clouds, if we lose comms, what's the protocol? And we are trained to continue to fly exactly the last instructions that were given, whatever they were, and because that's where they'll expect us to be. So my question
Walk
is, and why
7600.
I refer that is will it continue to? It doesn't surprise me that it'll continue to stream, but but is it? I would assume that it's got to be kind of locked into that mode, where so if you got disconnected while you were sharing this screen and had a picture-in-picture, my guess would be that's not going to change. There's nothing to trigger a change that represents like video switching, like somebody's still in charge. So that would be my guess anyways.
What happened? What might
Yep.
happen if you launched as the host and then you transferred host to somebody else? Would it now pick up instructions from there?
Yeah.
Maybe
So
it's something we can try.
So no, we're going. I mean, this was a total setup.
Yeah.
Man, well, let me tell you, the last 48 to 72 hours of my life has been all around this. Not necessarily for the Zoom Test Kitchen, but I felt it super appropriate to bring it here. It is due to this work that I'm involved with as well. And so I'm not going to give you the answer. Let's just test it and identify the answer together. So Chirig, I'm going to go ahead and make you host. And so right now, let's do this. I'm going to, we're in gallery. The stream itself is showing the gallery that because I'm in the gallery. If I spotlight me, it says I already was. Why is it? Let's go. Spotlight for everyone. Okay, so now I'm spotlighted in Zoom. We should expect to see that the stream updates accordingly, and so I'm there, and then I go. I'm going to leave myself spotlighted and go to gallery, watch the stream, and it goes to gallery. Now, when you're managing and switching inside Zoom, I could easily get by with spotlighting somebody and for administrative purposes, go to gallery so I can kind of put myself in a state of being able to have easy access to spotlight the next person, but knowing that the person I have spotlighted will retain spotlight. When you're streaming, it does not do that for you. So if you're used to bouncing to gallery for like the next switch, know that if you're the machine that it's depending on for its streaming decisions, it's going to switch to gallery on you. Ray.
For what it's worth, the second video that you put up did not switch to gallery. The second YouTube channel, which is still running.
Yeah. It's being streamed via my computer captured via vMix. It's not getting these results from Zoom's stream. Yeah. So there's different logic in there on those streams. So there's that. So I'm going to leave it here in gallery view. Chirig, are you still there? Your video's dark, but are you still there, ready to take host or? Boy, everybody's blacking out. Rupert just went dark. Chirig went dark. All right. All right. Dominique, you good with taking host? I'm going to unmute you. Now you actually have to be heard. Watch out. Okay, here we go, Dominique. I am going to make you the host.
Okay.
And there you go. You are now host. Now don't do anything yet. And we still see the gallery out there in Streamland. Now I'm going to shut up and you start telling us what you're doing. We'll see it in Zoom, but just guide us through verbally also changes that you're going to make, and we'll see if passing host as well affects what gets streamed. Because now we have a new host. Will it now start following Dominique?
So I'm going to go to speaker view. Did it change then?
We are awaiting that result. Yep, it looks like we are active speaker mode. And I'm
Great.
still sitting in gallery. I mean, like my Zoom client is still in gallery. So it certainly definitely wasn't me who made that change.
All right, and then if I go back to gallery view,
There we go, back in gallery on the stream. And why don't you, somebody share something and put a share and leave it in gallery, but have somebody add a share. You want to do that, Dominique, or do you want me to share something?
yeah, go ahead and share.
What do I have open? I guess I'll just share my Zoom window. So now there's it's sharing my second desktop, which is my gallery view in Zoom. And so it's got the share up there. And so it's my share, but let's see if you're, for sure, you're still in command, Dominique, and change a spotlight maybe.
No.
Okay.
Let's see.
So you've changed spotlights. Is that what you're saying?
No, I haven't. I mean,
Yeah, go ahead and spotlight somebody else to see if the picture-in-picture will follow at all.
it won't.
Challenges?
Can I do that?
Do what?
If I pin Ray.
I moved one space.
So it looks like, Dominique, did you spotlight yourself at one
No.
point?
No, I just spotlighted Ray.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like we're in active speaker mode, right? And I think that's a behavior we identified earlier, isn't it? If I try to remind myself, when it goes picture in picture, it goes active speaker, right? I mean, I don't think we can't lock it down when it's in a picture in picture mode, and and so it's simply active speaker only. So that was that conversation that says, make sure you mute everybody else, so that active speaker doesn't act. I mean, active speaker's engaged, but if there's nobody to engage to other than the active speaker, by managing mutes, then it will be.
And if I take over as the active speaker, what change does it make in the feed? One, two?
You'll come, there you go, right there. It switched to you. Yep.
Yep.
So is everybody convinced that the source data for the stream does in fact follow the current host? Now
I made Ray host.
Yeah, so there's those three prerequisites to be able to start the stream, but once you start the stream, they are the originating source of what gets streamed, but the moment they move host, which there's major benefits for, knowing, here's the flip side. So in this case, the client, it's their Zoom account, they're the ones who have to start the stream. And there may be a client out there that says, no, I don't want to, I just want to make you co-host. Okay, so what do you know at this point? What you know at this point is if you allow them to remain the host, what they do on their desktop completely matters, and you have zero control of it. That is not a good position to be in as a hired moderator. Like, that's a horrible, horrible position to allow yourself to get into as a paid gun. And so
If one quick question I can interject. So now that Dominique has host control and we're following her screen, can she stop the stream?
I'll let her answer that.
Well, if I was streaming, couldn't I stop the stream by ending the stream, right?
Well, that's the question. On the bottom right toolbar, so if I stop my share, that'll show you your toolbar more easily. Do you have on the bottom
I
right
must
of your
be
toolbar
host.
the three?
I must be host, 'cause I can
raise host, yeah.
Right.
So
I can
when you
stop the
click on the
stream.
three dots, you can stop the stream. Yep. You can't
Not any-
originate it, but
Right.
No,
you can stop it.
on the
So,
three dots.
and I can tell, did you stop it, Ray?
No, I did not.
My YouTube is just spinning right now. I'm kind of thinking maybe it got stopped.
Appears to have been stopped.
Yeah, it looks like it got stopped.
It's
Come
not
on,
up in
Ray.
It's not
What's
up in
up?
the list.
No,
It's not up in the
I
list.
did a refresh and it's still live, actually. It came back live. Now it's spinning again. So I don't know what's going on there. I would say go ahead and stop it, Ray. I think we've done enough, and I apologize to those watching the stream that I didn't do a good job at all on showing you what we're looking at is this stream
It's
versus
gone.
the stream you're watching, but it I'll say all you missed on the Zoom Test Kitchen stream was seeing an ugly stream. Zoom streams are horrible. There's nothing attractive about them. All of our control, so much of our, somewhat creative control that's at least allowable within Zoom is gone, and there's so many new rules that and behavior, I guess, that we have to become aware of, that outside of our work outside of streaming from Zoom, we never pay attention to because we've gotten very used to that. And so
It's almost like there should be a fail-safe that says if you hit the stop sharing to the stream, that should say, "Are you sure?"
yeah, you'd think, right? And so yeah, you just hit stop and it stopped. It was done.
I accidentally must have hit stop,
Yeah.
but it's reasonable to expect.
Oh, it's a pretty significant decision. Usually there's a confirmation pop up. Yeah, absolutely. So, anyways, I hope it, I hope the topic and the exercise itself was helpful, in the sense, and you can, if you close that and go remind yourself, I don't know if you're watching the stream of this actual meeting. Let me remind you where that is. Look at this handy dandy little shortcut I'm so aware of now, thanks to Churig. I'm going to paste the actual live stream of this meeting back into chat. So if you wanted to see that, and just being able to compare the difference. So now I'll go back to. Let's see, let me reclaim host here. I'm going to spotlight myself. I'm going to spotlight Churig, and you'll see on the live stream that's running right now out to the Zoom Test Kitchen channel that will update with our anticipated double spotlight, and that is what's happening. So I'll walk/talk through. We can get exactly what we want and deliver what we desire. And often the case is this what makes it so tough is you know, so we've got a 4-up and that'll hit the stream as well. And the customer's expectations are what? At the end of the day, they're at least going to begin with expecting that the stream that was sold to them, if you will, from a production company will look like, if the expectations weren't managed properly, will look like what they've always seen in Zoom with multi-spotlights and so forth. And so if that hasn't been managed ahead of time, that's a big problem. You know, I've seen it, I've heard butts get chewed. I mean, it's not fun because they never attended to that. I say, oh, can you stream? You know, sometimes the customers ask the wrong question, but it's still our job to clarify. Like, you know, for every decision, there's always in Zoom for sure, and most any technology, there's always a consequence of potential limitations, changed behaviors, changed methods of management, risk that's been inserted to, you know, the production, whatever the case may be. That really has to be the next become the next talking point. And so now what we see in Zoom is what we see out on that stream, minus the thumbnails. I'm looking at thumbnails on mine, and I'll even remove the toolbar. If you watch the stream, that toolbar will disappear, because that on this machine it pops up every once in a while based on what happens. But I'm not doing any special crops either, and so this is what's going on. So I'm on my Windows PC that has vMix on it, and it also has my primary Zoom client on it, and that's where I start the Zoom Test Kitchen as the host. And when I start that, then I have a Mac sitting next to me, and this machine is well, let me not talk to this machine real quick. That's my OSC machine. The second machine over is a Windows laptop with dual monitors, the built-in one and one external monitor. And this machine also joins this meeting. You'll see it in the participants list called Streamer. And the only reason it's joining this meeting is I drag all the extraneous windows to the second monitor. The primary monitor is 1920 by 1080. That's its resolution. So that's why I pick that destination, because that's what I'm going to stream at as well. And so I pull the main Zoom window down to the primary monitor, double click the title bar so it'll go full screen, and then I bring up the settings dialog. And under the general tab, there's the check mark that says always show meeting controls. And I leave that up there, actually, that when I'm not always managing this laptop, but when I get a chance to glance at it, or if you had somebody dedicated to the actual stream process while you switch or whatnot, sometimes there's things that happen, whether they're alerts or somebody jumping into the meeting or somebody leaving, that causes the toolbar to come back up. And so if you quickly bounce that check mark, they're on and you want them off, the toolbar. The toolbar showed up and you want it off. Bounce the check mark on, which they're already on, and bounce it right back off, and it will disappear. It kind of forces it off. I don't know any better trick than that, other than scaling the image that I'm capturing to, even when it comes up, it's not actually streamed. But I usually lose kind of some left side, right side more than I want, in order to get the toolbar cropped out far enough. And
isn't there a keyboard shortcut to turn that on and off?
Oh, there could be, yeah.
I'm pretty sure there is. I don't
There's,
remember what it
The
is.
Alt key. You can hit the Alt key and it
Is
should
it the
hide.
Alt?
Mhm.
Yeah. You're right. Yep, I'm doing it right now. Yeah, so that's a nice addition. Love it. And
Jeff, do you have a mouse on that machine, like a physical mouse?
no, just a touchpad. So yeah, it's not the vibration. It's great thought and thinking for sure,
So
because
what
vibrations. Yeah.
What I do is, if I have a mouse on one that I don't want the toolbar popping up on, I try and use a wireless mouse and then just toggle it off, so I don't go knocking the knocking the cursors.
Great idea. Great suggestion.
So the Alt key is a good shortcut to turn it on and off, but I'm pretty certain there's another one that turns on and off the auto hide feature. Now it's like a three button. I don't remember what the 3 buttons are, but there are 3 buttons to hit to turn that on. Just throwing it out there.
Gotcha. Well, I'll have to dig in, a little homework there. And so this is over here, so I full screen it, and it's showing me, you know, as an attendee, kind of a non-participating attendee, but I'm logged in. Then I launch, I make sure that NDI screen capture is running on this machine, and that's what publishes onto the network the NDI feed of that desktop screen, and as well as the audio. And so, because I want to keep that in sync. I could get the audio from other sources here, but I want to get it from that one so that it's kind of Zoom synced, if you will, with the picture as well. And so, so now that desktop's video and audio it's resident on my network, available. So then I come over here to vMix, and I add a new input. It's a new NDI input. I look for all the NDI sources that are available. I find this desktop, and I say add that one. And so that ends up being my #1 input for anybody who cares about vMix, because it's my output #2 is defined to be input #1's content. And I can't refer to the input that has that NDI screen capture as a name, which would enable me to move the input anywhere I wanted to in vMix. So I can only refer to it as a number. And so if I reorder my inputs, it screws that up. And so it's always my #1 input. So I never lose that stream. And so then I configure vMix to stream to a YouTube. You can set up to 3 simultaneous streams. I have one that goes to YouTube, one that goes to Facebook, and then I never did cross post to the other pages today. But then commonly I'll go to the public Zoom Test Kitchen page of Facebook, and then I'll cross post that over to the groups and other pages and so forth. So that's how I get, you know, how I stream what I want to be seen, which is exactly the way Zoom, you know, presents it internally. And so that I know there's, you know, potentially other methods. And now there's even like Zoom OSC method, which I mean, I've played a lot with Zoom OSC and spending a lot more time on Zoom ISO as well. And Zoom ISO not only can give us, you know, isolated feeds of attendees in a meeting, but it can also provide the gallery as well. And I haven't spent enough time on that yet to get that published and go, hey, could I just do it from that dependably and reliably and without having to scale and deal with toolbars and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to giving that a shot. Anybody else doing similar capture to stream that has other, you know, examples or architectures or whatnot that you'd want to share?
So the thing that springs to mind is, what about, and I'm sorry if you covered this already because I joined late, but what about the native NDI outputs from Zoom Rooms now?
Yeah, so I see Greg's name here. I know I haven't had my hands on them yet, but I know Greg has leveraged them, you know, pretty solidly up to this point. I've been on some of the tests as well, but I think the answer, I'm pretty sure the right answer would be is yes, he can also output, you know, isolated videos of any attendee and as well the gallery, and capture that. John?
Yeah, I do. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, if you haven't played with the NDI output, it really is a very convenient way to get high quality video and put it either into a vMix or feed it into your ATEM. Right now, it works in Zoom Rooms, and so there's a little bit of work they need to do in terms of the Zoom Room controller to make it a little bit easier to operate in the cloud. But if you haven't played with it, it's definitely worth trying.
Hey, Jeff, can you hear me?
I can. Hit us, Greg.
Sorry, I'm actually out riding a bike, so you might hear a lot of wind noise. But just to answer the question, in Zoom Room NDI, there is no gallery view. You can do an active speaker, but you can still pin, even if you have 3 NDI pins, you can still pin the old way. So you could run screen capture on you can run screen capture on the machine and then still pin the gallery using screen capture.
Okay, cool. So a little new tech and a little previous tech, and you still have a solution. So
effectively, you would get 3 NDI feeds using the new tool, and then you can do 2 screen captures as well. So you can get 5 outputs out of 1 room if you want to do that.
Very cool. Good stuff. Looking good, Greg. All right.
What about the upcoming focus mode? Is that going to change any of the options here in Zoom?
I haven't had the exposure to it to actually be able to answer that quite yet.
So Rupert, what is the question? I'm not sure what you're asking.
So in the release notes to 5.7.3, I think that just came out, it said that there was going to be this new feature, focus mode, where the language seems to suggest it will give the host the ability to, for example, see the gallery. It'll give the host the ability to be the only one that sees the full gallery, and then they can select what the other participants see.
Yeah, a bit of a kind of a video. It sounded like a kind of a video switcher's console, is to be able to use the gallery like a multi-view,
Right.
if you will, to a degree, right?
So they're building the features into the client. They said it's dependent on the web, the features being enabled in the web portal, which is coming on August 7th.
Yeah, I haven't seen them out, and that August date is going to be key to it. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I think they said teachers will be able to see, all the students' videos, but all the students won't. And they can, release them one at a time if they want while they're speaking or whatnot, as well as it sounded like shares. So they can have those queued up, if you will, but not release them until they decide to release them out to the Zoom meeting. So it'll be very interesting to find out. There's a lot out there. I've got a request in to really be given a tour, if you will, of a real solid tour from Zoom of the Zoom events platform, so that we can do a nice, solid, well-informed overview of that here in the Zoom test kitchen, and I'll look for the same kind of thing on the focus features that are coming, because that's pretty significant by all indications.
Zoom Academy, I think, is going to be coming up next week. That's going to be probably the first showcase event on Zoom events.
Yep.
So that's worth looking at.
Yeah, Zoom Academy next Wednesday. Definitely sign up for it if you haven't. It's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, I'm going to grab that link real quick, put it in chat. There we go.
I tested the videos in Zoom waiting rooms earlier, if anybody wants to hear about that.
Oh, did
I
you?
was actually going to ask you, Rupert. Yeah, how did that go?
So it's kind of interesting. It's just for waiting rooms, not breakout rooms or anything like that. And as far as I know, waiting rooms are just a meeting thing, not a webinar thing. So before, you could obviously choose to put attendees in a waiting room first and then admit them. You have been able to before customize that waiting room with like an image and some text, pretty basic stuff. So this is now customizing it with a video. It's still in beta, so you have to get it enabled. But on the web settings, when you go to it, it's not when you create a meeting. It's actually the setting is per your account, so per your login.
It's under customized waiting room.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you can, at the moment, all it does is allow you to upload a video clip. I think the limit's 30 or 50 meg.
30 or 40 meg, yeah, something like that I read.
And on the back end, that's it. You just upload video and that's it. And the user experience, when somebody joins the meeting is that they'll get a pop up to the waiting room, and then you'll get the little spinning logo. So the client is obviously downloading the video rather than streaming it out. Well, that's what it looks like anyway. And then, but it doesn't autoplay. You get a play button and you have to kind of actually hit it to play the video, and then it starts muted. So you have to unmute to hear the audio. It only appears to play once. There's no.
Oh, it doesn't loop? Oh.
Doesn't loop, no. Unless you can put a meta flag in the video that it would honor. I don't know. We'll have to do some testing there. It doesn't loop, and it doesn't. It fades to black at the end, so it doesn't hold the last frame, which is be nice if it did that.
So you tested it with a video with guaranteed the last frame was an image, not black, huh?
Right. Yeah.
That's a bummer. That would be nice to have kind of those final instructions or whatnot, just sit on that.
Yeah. Now you could get around like the muting if you did the first few seconds of your video was, hey, big arrow, unmute your video, something like that. But without an autoplay, it's not very intuitive just at the moment. It's still in beta, so maybe they'll just fine tune it.
Does it still display the customized waiting room message that has always been available?
Yes. Yeah. Well, when that is the one up when you upload the video, that is the one text input box you do get. You get to specify a specific description or whatever.
So
it will
instructions, maybe hit play, unmute.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I would think that would be very intentional. The fact that they've got it muted and you have to play it yourself, because that's an accessibility issue. So if someone's coming in with a screen reader and then all of a sudden when they're trying to join a meeting, it's blasting audio and video at them, it's actually not a good user experience for them because they won't know how to turn it off immediately because they can't find the controls. So generally when we do anything on web, we always make sure the video, they can play it themselves rather than autoplay. So I would think that's more than likely the reason why they've done that. So it's probably going to stay that way. I'd say they may give you an option to autoplay, but by default, I think it should be turned off. Yeah. That's probably why.
Then I think they should include some, well, maybe you're right. If you have the chance to put in some description text there, you can kind of give some instructions, but certainly could be more intuitive.
Well, and it is in beta, but our use case has been that we try to encourage people to join early. And when they do that, it's not all that exciting. And so we'll have our panelists and when are we going to invite people in from the waiting room, and we tend to do it earlier than we would if we knew there was something useful for them.
Right, but they won't get the waiting room until the meeting started, because if you
can fix it with a video that basically we have a lot of people who log in early to a meeting and they'll watch something, maybe not even listen to it because they're doing other work or having other people in their office. But I think there's lots of different use cases.
Yeah.
And for us, it's a handy thing to have when we could have our interpreters meeting and planning beforehand, but the teacher can start playing that video whenever he or she wants to get ready for the field trip. You're muted, Jeff.
Oops, that's playing a video from inside the meeting is what you're describing, John, versus the waiting room video.
Well, no, you could do the waiting room video too.
But you can't choose to play that out. That's just something which is
it's whenever the person in the waiting room presses play.
Right.
But people enter the waiting room at all different times, so if you want them to have a full segment, I mean, we played with it because it could be very long, but somebody might come in 15 minutes before, somebody might come in 10 minutes before.
Yeah. Well, it was one of my early thoughtful questions, not knowing what the answer was going to be, is it going to be a looping video? And if it is a looping video, does it start at new for every person coming in at different times, or are they joining in and missing the whole part of the whole meeting because they missed the setup at the beginning. So this answers that is they have to consciously hit play, which means everybody entering the waiting room, no matter when they do it, will get the whole view. The only exception being if I say admit all, I may interrupt some people that haven't maybe finished it, but it can't be huge videos. I mean, they can only, be of 30 or 40 meg. So it's not going to be, doesn't have to be high res. Did there seem like there was it stretchable or fixed size or what would you see that way, Rupert, in the sense of we could produce something and output it at 360p and have zero worries, or
I'd have to go back and check. I mean, the default window size was what you'd kind of expect the waiting room pop-up to be.
Yeah.
About a third of the screen, something like that, half of the screen.
So not a sizable.
Right.
I didn't turn into
I didn't
a
try to
sizable
stretch
or-
it, but
yeah.
it didn't. I don't think it did.
Yeah. And not like a full screen button on there that they could pop it out or
No, I
whatnot.
don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's check it out. I mean, that would enable us to at least, do, encode it at a low bit rate and in, lower resolution and so forth that could keep us within those size parameters and then be able to kind of maximize the duration of it if necessary. So very good. Very good. Any that was my main topic on streaming today. So I'm not gonna necessarily pop up other topics just on the fly because of time. It's 3:45. We're heading on that 2-hour mark, which has never been a hard stop in the Zoom Test Kitchen. But I will. I'm certainly willing to kind of wrap things up, but always more willing to throw it out to you guys and see if there's any other topics of conversation that you want to bring out here too.
I'd like to just quickly entertain you guys with a Zoom event horror story, if you want to hear it.
Sure. What do you got?
Oh, so I had an event last month where there were, I'm going to say 11 or 12 principals that we were bringing into vMix through Zoom. And also the event coordinator invited all the audience into the same Zoom meeting and put them in a breakout room, which was fine until 2 minutes before launch, everybody gets dumped back into the main room with my 11 principals. It was so much fun.
Always good times. Any other horror stories or success stories? Tony, how's your weekly show going?
Glad you asked, Jeff. Can you hear me?
we can hear you.
So I actually just got back from Florida on Tuesday. And so I had the conversation with Tony Mobley on last Wednesday. And we had Jessica Barkle. And it's on YouTube and it's also on my website. And I apologize, I am in my bedroom because my normal space, my wife is working. And so it's been going, I think, very well. There are 6 episodes now. And wow, who could have thought? 6 episodes, conversations with Tony Mobley. Each one is different. Each one is special. And I'm excited because I didn't think that it would become what it seems to be becoming. Every person who has been on so far has brought a wealth of information and a perspective that is very unique. Everyone has made me better, and so I'm thankful for that. And I know I have a long way to go, and I know I'm doing a lot of no-nos right now. I'm holding the iPad and you're seeing the ceiling and the fan, and I know better, and I know better. But I wanted to just respond to your question, Jeff, by saying that I'm thankful because people here, Zoom Test Kitchen and office hours and family and friends have all made this possible. And I don't take anything for granted. It's just an amazing journey. And I don't know, what these conversations is going to be. But I do know that I am thankful for this opportunity. And I will share, I hope he doesn't mind, that Dr. Idelson will be on this coming Wednesday night. And looking forward to that.
Who is that? Dr. Idelson.
Who's this Dr. Idelson? Have I told you the Dr. Idelson story?
No, tell us.
Okay, the preview for when I first started teaching back in 1978 at Chico. I was assigned a new class. The person had been on sabbatical. It was broadcast law. And although my doctorate was in industrial engineering and my master's was in educational broadcasting, my radio, television, film degree was my undergraduate. So it's been a long time since I'd taken a broadcast law course, and now I was teaching it. So I had to go to the library and start working on it. And I was researching for the class, trying to be a few days ahead of my students. And a librarian came up to me and said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I'm researching." And she goes, "This is awful early." And I said, "What do you mean awful early?" She said, "Well, we usually don't get students in during the first week of classes." I had to convince her I wasn't a student. I looked very young, I guess. And so I grew a beard. This was the purpose of my original beard, which was not a gray beard. Anyway, so fast forward. Well, I should say I never refer to myself as Dr. Idelson. I was always very informal with students. I said, "Just call me John." And if they wanted me to call them by their first name, I felt it was more important they called me by my first name. Fast forward, when I moved to Monterey, people would refer to me as Dr. Idelson. And in classes, I say, "No, just John, just call me John." And so the students did, but I would hear them walking in the hall going, "I've got a meeting with Dr. Idelson." I said, "Well, wait a second. What's this meeting with Dr. Idelson? You just call me John." He says, "Well, we're not talking about you. We're talking about your son." So my son was in middle school, and he would take the bus to campus and be in my office for the last hour or two of the day before he and I would go home to our house. And the students said, "Oh yeah, when your son comes home from middle school, we go into the office and he helps us out with programming and stuff. He's much clearer than you are and doesn't tell bad jokes." So, when we refer to Dr. Idelson, it's my son in office hours when he was in middle school.
Wow.
That's the Dr. John story, or Dr. Idelson story. And Tony, I hope I don't destroy your streak of good shows.
Let's, I wanted to share. There we go.
Who found this?
I saw this on your Facebook page the other day.
Oh, that's right.
I think you released that. Yeah, it was, what was it, 12 years ago? Memories of, right?
Yeah, I think it was
Like,
12 years ago.
wow.
That's
Young and
cancer
ambitious.
and doing
Yeah.
a video on using video in multimedia in classrooms.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was enlightening for me to really recognize how long you've been pursuing, the digital and all. So it's kind of cool.
I've been actually transferring some of my videotapes. So I actually have a video webinar broadcast that we did in the 90s for CNN. I should pull that up someday.
Yeah, fun shares. Dominique, thanks for hanging with us today. He's getting ready to drop. So enjoy
Yeah,
your weekend.
thank you. You too. Thank you very
you bet.
much.
All right, take care. Well, very good, Tony. Thanks for sharing. I will continue to give it my effort. I haven't done a good enough job to actually tune in quite yet, embarrassed to say, but glad it's going well and growing. And you may have to just ask me to do something in a responsible, liable manner to make me get there, and I'll commit to it. But I will get tuned in, and it's been fun. I mean, I don't remember. I wish I was a better note taker. Like, when was the first time I tuned into like office hours? But somewhere around there is when I saw this guy named Tony Mobley, and everybody was just helping you, with this cable and this mic, and I mean, just like from the early gettings to now, you've got your organized discussions and your setup, not necessarily today, but your setup looks fantastic with lights and camera and all that, and it's just so neat to see the growth, and so good stuff. We lost them. Well, anything else, you guys? Anything else? Yeah, Ray, what you got? Other than mute.
I'm out of here. Good session today. I sincerely apologize for clipping the YouTube.
No, we
And-
were ready for that.
Yeah.
No, we were ready.
Well,
Not a
and I've
problem.
done something to try to help the redness go away a little bit. Does it look a little less red now?
It's a little less. Yeah, it still has some place to go.
I'm going to start getting some adjustable lights because I don't like being the lobster on the crew.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, I was dealing with red also, and I mean, vMix lets me, color shade and so forth, but I couldn't. I mean, even when I felt like the picture looked as good as it was going to get, I still had, this splotchiness that was really becoming like much louder on the camera than in real life and all. And I have, my lights are adjustable, temperature wise and output wise and so forth. That helped, but I literally stood up 2 more pieces of hardware of more light, and then I reminded myself, it's like, there's Tony, that even as a kid looking back on like TV studios and the ooh and ah moments, on how hot and bright those doggone things were, and I think just over time, over the last few months, I've just allowed myself to kind of, be more comfortable eye-wise in lower levels of light, and that just really brings out, the if you will, blemishes or colors, hard to get the reds out and so forth. So I really kind of upped my exposure, and then adjusted the camera, and started at zeros on all of my color shading and contrast, and do what you do. I hold up a white poster board and do a white balance and all that. So it made a pretty significant difference. I mean, I don't know, exactly what you guys are seeing, but commonly get pretty decent comments back of the clarity and so forth. So
You look good. I got to run. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Take care, Ray. Enjoy your
Take
weekend.
care, Ray.
Hey guys, I'm back. Can you hear me?
There he is. We got you. Yep.
Okay. And so, John, you're going to have to tell that entire story again, because I did not get any of it. It's amazing.
It's on
thing.
YouTube now. I don't know. Did you show up? You've been here since the beginning of the meeting, right, Tony? Or were you listening earlier? Where we have a YouTube channel now also for Zoom Test Kitchen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Well, are you ready for another 2-minute nostalgia of the history of video conferencing and satellite streaming?
Sure.
Let's see if I can make this play. Optimize for video.
And down the line, we're going to have to try to figure this out, because this is my second iPad that will, if it's in a case and I move it, it will take out the sound and the audio, so I can't hear and you can't hear me. iPad. This is a totally different iPad. It's an M1. The other one was a 2020, and if it's in a case, it only does it on Zoom.
A strange case. Well, let me do this quick share. And this was from May 1991. And I think the audio will play. We'll see.
I can hear some static coming from it, so I would suspect it's good to go.
This is a news story about the
Coming up on KOVR 13, see how Chico State communication students get a taste of the real world.
Yeah, hear how they landed a contract with CNN to produce a real on-air program.
This is a big week for students at Chico State's School of Communications. It's the first college in the nation to land a major contract with a TV network to produce programs for broadcast. Our John Inder says for those lucky students, it's a taste of the pressures of the real world.
Start, talk on camera 3, talk for maybe
Yes. Thank you.
30 seconds. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Interact, blah, 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 blah. Then say,
At Chico State, the communication students are rehearsing for a teleconference. It's kind of like a two-way interactive television program. This one will connect media experts and teachers in schools all over North America. This is a real live TV program for CNN. It's meant to show the schools how to use a news program designed for kids.
It's being able to hands-on and being able to follow a project all the way through from beginning all the way, hopefully, to the end. And I think what better way can I be prepared than that?
And with the opening again, stand by.
CNN has hired Chico State to produce and air this teleconference. This week it'll be sent by satellite to more than 2,000 schools in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Pat Foley helped hammer out the contract with CNN.
I'm not sure at the beginning, but I'm sure now that they view us as professional.
This is the first time when they realize if it's late, no one's going to be watching. When the clock goes on, we're on the air. We don't have a second chance. We can't turn it in the next day.
Chico students produced all the graphics for the program, even handled all the billing for the schools that buy the teleconference. For students like Claire Moore, behind the camera there, this could be a stepping stone.
Yeah, it's exciting and scary and inspiring all at the same time.
And when you graduate, where do you go next?
Well, it's quite possible that I'll be going to CNN, knocking on their door, going, hello, remember me?
Teachers here are hoping to continue the CNN contract for years to come, to give this university something that no other communications school can offer, a chance to make it or break it in the real world. At Chico State, John Inder, KOVR 13 News.
Some great experience. CNN allows Chico State to keep part of the fee it charges schools to carry the teleconference, and that could add up to thousands of dollars the school can use to buy more equipment and try to get more contracts with other broadcasters.
And they'll be knocking on CNN's door when they graduate. Hi, remember me from
Yeah.
Chico State?
Pretty cool. Well,
very cool.
A young looking John.
Yeah, and that was actually the fourth year we did it. Our first year was a contract that we had with Tamberg Learning Systems, and the second year we had one with IBM. But so when people talk about video conferences and students doing work, I go, yeah, we've been doing that since the early 90s.
Yeah. You in touch with anybody in that group?
Oh, yeah. John Russell eventually went and got his PhD, and he came back and teaches at Chico State.
Cool.
Pat got a job in telecommunications. Yeah, no, there are a lot of students who credit getting into the field as this was the advanced television production class that I taught, and it was project based. We essentially found a group, got a contract and the students managed and run it. It was really a great learning experience for all
That's
the
cool.
students. And as a
Yeah.
faculty member, it's a lot more fun.
Very cool. Great influence, great experience for sure. Well, good stuff. Andre Chirig. Am I saying your name right, Chirig?
Chirag.
Chirag?
Yep.
The accent's on the back end, if you will.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Where are you
Yeah.
located again? You've told me once and I've forgotten.
I'm in Dallas.
Beautiful Dallas. Okay.
Oh, very good. I may be heading down there next week.
Oh, nice.
I got family in west of Fort Worth, Weatherford. Mom and sister in Weatherford, and my brother lives somewhere between the 35 and 35. Well, what is it? The 30, 820, 30 that gets me out to Weatherford. He's kind of closer to the Speedway.
Nice.
So, yeah, so we'll go visit some family and good stuff. Well, that's all I've got. Chirag, you just correct me. I'm going to work on that like I've been working on Tlalix. Did I say that right? I wonder. Tlalix. That whole TL combination is not something my tongue is used to, but I've been trying to train it. Thank you for the shortcut. Truly, that was like my missing little nugget for sure on getting that. So now I can always, with a surety, get all three pieces of info in up front and be good to go there from.
So just another thing on that, you know how you say there's three pieces? That third one is the live streaming URL. That can be anything. That does not have to be. Yeah.
I mean, it's required, right? But yeah, I just say, well, I don't know what it is. I'll just type in youtube.com, and away it goes. Yeah, it doesn't have to be, like you say, correct, but for those in Zoom, like once you're streaming in Zoom, it says live streaming, right? And then there's a drop down. And one of the choices is to view the live stream, and that the accuracy of that link will actually take your attendees directly to it if you get it in there correctly. I think the other part of it is when we apply that to webinars, the third field with the option turned on, when you hit capacity of your licensing, it will roll them over to that streamed platform destination. So it won't let you in, but it will forward you, if you're streaming through Zoom, it'll forward you to the streamed platform instead. And so then it becomes kind of crucial if you anticipate kind of meeting or beating your capacity of your license. Very good. That's all I've got. Gentlemen, enjoy your weekend. We'll roll out with a little music and slides, but we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Jeff. Take care.
Okay.